Okay, so today we're going to look at how to set up a FendtONE offboard account. So to start with, if we just type in FendtONE and let that search through, and we can see here now we've come into the FendtONE offboard portal. But what we need to do then is sign up. So if I press on the sign up button, what we have to do then is create an AGCO ID. So if we put in your email address, tick the box there, and what we need to do then is get a validation code. So that validation code will go through to your email. So here we can see we've got our validation code come through, and so if we put that back into our account, hit the verify button, and now this is where then we can choose our password. Enter in our details. Once we've entered in our details, then we can hit create my AGCO account. Accept the cookies there. We can now see that our FendtONE offboard account has been created. Hit the next button, and now we can enter our email address that we created the account with, the password that we set, and we can then log in. So it's now time to log in. And the first stage then that we'll come to is wanting to add in our preferred dealer. So we want to do this right at the beginning. So we hit add dealer, and then is come down to where it says change dealer. We've got our postcode in there that we use to set up our account, and then we can set our search radius, and then we can choose closest preferred dealer. So if that's your dealer that you are working with, highlight the box there and hit save. And we see here now that is added in our preferred dealer. So now we need to add our machines into the portal. So the way we do that, we can come into our machines tile, and then we start to work through the process. So step one is selecting our brand. So we select our Fendt brand there, and now we enter in our serial number of our tractor. Here then it's asking for the start date and the condition. This doesn't have to be the exact start date. This is more just so we're building up our record keeping of our machines and our implements. So we can pick a date that's close by. Choose where we're going, used or a new condition, and hit the next button. We just get a summary of our machine and the details there, so we can just double check that we have got the right machine loaded up. You'll see then we've got two verification methods here, and so this is just to prove that I am physically the owner of the machine. So the preferred one would be this one here. Verification via terminal, and this will send a unique PIN to the terminal there, but it is only works then with software versions higher than F.09. So F09 software came out in July 2024. If we've got older software version that's not yet been updated by the dealer, or we've got the old NT01 screen, then we would use the uploading document process for the machines there. And this is where then we'd upload a V5 registration document, but we need to show then the address and the serial number. And the way we do that is go to start verification, to where we got a copy of our V5 document, and then hit the submit request. That then goes to a data steward who will manually double check then against the details, the serial number of the machine, and that might take up to 24 hours to process. But we're going to use the pin to terminal feature. So we're selecting this tile here. Just remember the software version for your tractor needs to be F09 software onwards. But if we start the verification process, get a 6-digit pin that will input into the tractor. So if we activate our code, and we can see then is we've got our 6-digit pin, we've got 2 hours to input that pin into the tractor. We're now in the tractor and we've got our generated pin. So what we need to do, press on the 3 white bars in the top right hand corner, go to System Setup, and we've got this tab here that says 1. Press on that one. We've got another button down here, press here, and this is where we now enter in our pin. The screen now will generate our QR code, so we need to get our mobile phone out, open up the camera, scan that QR code. It's now starting to check the machine verification. Machine is now verified, and on the portal it will have switched from pending to active. So you can see we successfully verified our tractor, and it's now gone to being active. If we click on the tractor, then we can look at a variety of details there. So we've got our basic information for the tractor. We can look at any alarms, servicing, warranty, documentation, and a connectivity for the machine. What we can do is we scroll down through, is if we want to, we can change the name of the tractor to anything that's relevant to us. So it could say that it's Dave's tractor if we wanted to, and we can also then upload a photo of the machine as well. Once we've got the picture that we want, we can upload that, and then that will sit nicely on the portal, just to help us to identify the tractor a little bit better. Hit the save button afterwards, and our changes have been made. On the side here, we've got three buttons, so we can save that as a favourite. We can also jump straight to the live location of the machine, or hot link into the FendtConnect, our telemetry system, as well from those side buttons. One thing we need to check then is the connectivity. So we can see here it says that our taskdock connection is pending, and therefore we need to activate this to get the over-the-air connection with the portal and the tractor. So the way we do this is we come back out of this page, go to our gear wheels, and here then is we've got an activate now button. So if we click to activate, we get this pop-up box to confirm our email address. Hit activate now, and this then will trigger an email invite to the taskdock server. So now that that's gone through, if I hit close, if I go to my email, we can see we've got an invite from our taskdock server. If I click on that one and go into to create a password, I need to download the EULA, or end user license agreement, and then I can tick to say that I've read that agreement, and then move on to proceed. We can see here then we've got our tractor entered into the taskdock server. So if I come back to my FendtONE account, come out of this page here, click onto my tractor, go back down to my AGCO connectivity tab, and we see here now the tractor is active for its taskdock connection. To enable over-the-air transfer of data then, we need a SIM card in the tractor. Now, if you're already using N-Trip for your guidance signal correction, you don't need to do this step. But if you're using EGNOS or a satellite-based correction signal, we need to install a SIM card. Now, the SIM card lives up in this roof hatch. So phase one is we need to pull down the roof paneling for a start, and then we'll have a big metal plate in front of us. We need to unbolt that metal plate, let that hinge itself down, and what you'll then see is the receiver and another little white rectangular box which we refer to as being the VDO unit. There's a big plug on the front of that. We need to pull that plug off, and then inside where that plug has been is a little SIM card drawer, and there's a little yellow tab. If you push that tab in, it'll eject the SIM card door, put your SIM card in, pop the door back into place, put the plug back on, and then refit all the roof trim, and then we can look then at what we need to do in the screen settings. We've now got our SIM card installed in the VDO unit, so now we need to configure its settings, and where we do that then is press on the 3 white lines in the top right hand corner, go to System Setup, and then if we come across to this third tab, Connectivity, if we scroll down, we end up then with this page here. So we've got a drop down box here. If you press in there, you can choose from some various SIM providers, but the best thing to do is hit the plus button and then add in your own SIM provider. Now, each SIM provider will have different connection settings, so the best thing to do there is to Google their APN settings, which will then give you obviously the provider name, the access points to the APN, so it's usually a web address. They'll give you a username, and then they'll give you a password. Input those details for that provider and hit the green tick. And then once we're happy with that, we can hit the green tick on this page, and then what you'll see then is green ticks appear here and here, and that will then show us then once it's connected to that particular provider's network, we will see the signal strength there, and that then means that we're now configured our SIM card and it's now connected to the network. As standard, the tractor will be configured to export all its data out via USB stick, but because we want over the air, we need to make another settings change in the screen. So where we go to do that, go to the 3 white lines at the top, System Setup, come across to where it says Isobus, and then if we scroll down the page, we can see here then that it's already set to USB device. I need to change that to cellular, hit the green tick, and then we have a test button, so this will test a connection to the taskstock server. So if I press the test button, we can see it's going through, and what we want to see then is that we get all green ticks in there to say then that it's connected to the taskstock server. To help populate the FendtONE offboard portal is we can export the master data from the tractor. So on this tractor screen, if I press on my Fields tab here, we can see we've got a number of fields on here, and so a quick and easy way to export those off this screen into the offboard portal is to use the master export function. And so where that lives is press on the 3 white bars in the top right hand corner, go to System Setup. If we come across to our Isobus tab, scroll down the page, and we see here is we've got 2 floppy disk symbols, and these are our master export options, but the one I want to press then is the one up the top here. So if I give that one a press, it will run through the process, and now it's transferred all that field data that was there back to my offboard portal. Okay, so once we got the data back from the tractor, we can look to how we manage that field data. So we come into the fields tile, and one of the things we might see is a conflict in here, and so we can manage these conflicts. Now, what a conflict relates to is having maybe 2 boundaries for the same field. So if I go to resolve this conflict, and here then, as we can see, we've got the same field area, but 2 different boundaries and two namings for the same field. So if I click onto one, it will highlight in blue what the boundary is, and vice versa for the other one. So whichever one I want to choose is highlight the boundary, and I can say, right, going to make this one the master for this particular field in here. and then we can accept that conflict. Now we've only got the one boundary for the field. If I click in to one of these fields here, obviously we can see our field boundary. We can see then that we've got a wayline that's come from the tractor already saved for the field. But what we can do in here as well is we can do some editing of this field. And the way we go to edit is I can go to the pencil icon. I can edit the field boundary. So I could, if I want to, reshape the field itself and then save that one. The wayline I've got for that field is I can rename it, so it's something that's more pertinent to myself. Or in the field is I can add any obstacles. So we can see in this particular field we've got some trees, so I can hit the plus button. I could then go to add an area. If I zoom in, I can then draw around those trees to mark them as an obstacle for the field, and then that removes that from the overall field area. If I scroll down, I can now see that that obstacle added into the field there. And again, if I want to, I can individually delete that. But if I'm happy with everything there, I can carry on scrolling down. If I want to, again, I can alter the field name. I can add a farm, add a customer details to it as well, or right at the bottom, delete the whole field itself. When I'm happy with those field changes there, and I want to push those out to other tractors, is I could do that one of two ways. I could either create a task and add those fields in, or I can do a master export from the portal. And the master export then is I come up to the three white lines. If I go to my settings, scroll down the page, go to export, and then I can choose any number of fields. But if I just want to select the fields option, hit my next, and then I can select then any machines that I've got available to me. I can then hit the export button, and that will send all that field data, boundaries, waylines, obstacles out to anything else that I got connected to the fleet. If we want to create a task, this is a good way of sharing data, new data between the tractors, but also a way of capturing what the tractor has done out in the field. So the way we go about creating a task is if we go to our create task tile in here, and we see we've got multiple options of the type of job that we're doing. So we can choose a job. In there is then we select our tractor, select the implement we want to use, and then here then is I can choose multiple fields to send out. So if this was new fields as well that I wanted to get onto a tractor, again, this is another way I can transfer that data. But once I'm happy with what I've got selected, I can hit the next button. If I want to, I can tag a crop to that particular task, but or I can skip it. And now we're through to the overview page. So one thing we can do is we can edit the name of the actual task itself. So I can say that it is a disking, and then it's the first pass in there. If I want to, I can check my fields. If I want to, I can add a note as well to that job. So I can say start in field 5, and once I'm happy with that information, hit the send button, and that will send that information over the air to the tractor. So we're back in the tractor now then, and we've sent our task over the air. So when the tractor is connected to the task.doc server, we'll get a pop-up screen on the tractor, like we see here then, to say that the task data is ready to be downloaded. And because I want to action those jobs, I can press the green tick, and as we can see now is our task has been successfully imported onto the tractor. Now there's a few things we can do to automatically help select tasks for us. We don't have to keep going back into the task stock list. And so what we need to do is one, come into the fields menu up here and just activate our auto field detect. So that just means as we cross that boundary line, it knows which field we're in. And then to get it to automatically select and start a task is if I come up into the three white lines, go to system setup, across to Isobus, and then scroll back down my page, is we've got these two buttons here. So this one that's currently switched off, this means then every time I enter a field, it's going to prompt me to either select a task or create a task manually. So I'll switch that one to being on. And then this next one down here is how it handles the task. So if I press here, I get three options. The best one to always go for is the automatic pause and start task. And so what that means is when I drive through the boundary, it's going to detect that the task is there and prompt me to start it. But more importantly, then when I leave the field, leave that boundary, it's going to automatically pause the job for me. So select the green tick there. If we come back to our page, the last thing to do now is actually drive into our field. So as we're approaching our field boundary and we cross over the boundary line, we'll get a pop-up. You can see here then. So we've got our prompt then of our task. I can highlight it, press the green tick, and you see up here now it's saying that my task has gone live. It's automatically started to record. So if I then started to work that field, it would carry on recording. But then when I leave the field, so if I back out of the field across the boundary, is what we'll then get is another message. And what you find, you usually got to go further out of the boundary than you do when you're going into the boundary. And now you can see now I've got the pop-up here. If I don't touch anything, it will automatically time out. But if I hit the green tick, just like say pause the job there, you can see now it's gone to a paused state. And then vice versa, if I drive back into the field now, because I've already had that task selected, it will then just automatically put it into the recording state. And as you can see now, it's automatically started to record that job. Once I have finished the job, I hit the pause button. If I'm happy with everything that's been done with that job, I press the book button. It gives me a summary of what I've done. Hit the green tick, and now it's starting to transfer that data. Data exchange successfully completed, and that will now send everything back to the FendtONE offboard portal. So when we've sent our jobs back to the FendtONE offboard portal, what we can see here in the task reports is we can see we've got one new job that's come back in, and that was the one we exported from the tractor. So if I click onto the reports tile, is here we can see our task up here with the new symbol on there. There won't be much data in that particular task from what we did. We just drove in and out of the field. So if I just scroll down, so we can see we've got multiple tasks here. If I click into one of the particular tasks, then here is we've got some details about what's happened. So we've got the field that's been in, the area of the field. We've got the start time and date, the stop time and date there as well. We can also see the image of where the tractor has travelled within the field. And then as I scroll down further, we can see which tractor did the work. Again, it's effective working time, it's ineffective working time, so that usually encompasses turning on the headland. Most importantly, we see our fuel figure at the end there as how much fuel's been used in that particular field, what the total area of what was worked, and we can see here then our implement that was being used. If we had an Isobus implement in there, we'd also get the totals from the Isobus implement. If I just scroll back up, we can see our map of where we've driven. What I can do is I can generate what they call as a heat map, so we can analyze a little bit more data. So I can come in, I can look at what's come off the machine. So I can look at, say, wheelbase speed, and we can get then a little heat map being generated onto the screen as well. What we can also do with this job is, once we're happy with the data there, is we can finalize it, and then we get these two buttons at the end there, so I can download all that information into either a PDF or into a CSV file. So if I download it into a PDF, then that will save that onto my computer, open that particular file up, and what I get then is a summary of everything that was done in that particular job for that field. What I can also do is I can export a lot of data out in one go. So if I come to my transfer button, come to my export in here, I can make a choice then as to whether I export out as a CSV, a PDF, or get the raw data out in a nice XML file. But if I leave it as a CSV file, is what I can do is either I can select individual reports by tapping on them, or what I can do is use a select all button there, and then again download that. That will then save a CSV file onto my laptop, and then if I open up that file, it will open up all this data then into an Excel spreadsheet. And so then what I can see then is all the jobs that have been done on the for those particular jobs there, and then I can start to do a little bit more in-depth analysis based on those figures. Thanks very much for watching this tutorial. If you have any further questions, please reach out to your local dealer or get in contact with us on the FendtONE web page.